Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name's Andy, Corporate Commander TFW, and I'm joined this week by the great Mikey man. It's Mikey G Wolf V3. Hello, Mikey.
I need a magic watch to make clothes.
Yes, you do. Or wouldn't it be better if I just had like a beam that I could shoot you with that made you have clothes?
Clothes beam, if it were.
The clothes beam. The forgotten power of Piccolo.
Clothes beam! Well, the best part of that, their heart to skip a beat. Shut the fuck up.
I wonder if anyone else had clothes beam power in like that universe, because the amount of times Vegeta's came out of a shower without pants on.
Do you think like King Piccolo had a clothes beam?
Well, he must have, because I don't think Piccolo Jr. would have learned it from anyone, so he inherited all of King Piccolo's abilities, didn't he?
Yeah, so that means Kami had one as well.
That
They've all got
makes
one.
that makes more sense that Kami would have a clothes beam, because something tells me that Popo was not a clothed individual beforehand. Kami enslaved him with the power of clothing.
Oh, isn't that the story of Tarzan?
Probably. Are we talking about the terrible movie, the kind of Tarzan 2, when he returned to the jungle?
Tarzan 2 Revenge.
We're not here to talk about Tarzan, thank God. We're here to talk about Transformers this week. Not much has happened in the Transformers news. Not really anyway, has it, Mikey?
No, it's been a quiet week.
Yeah, fairly quiet, so don't expect a longie, but we're going to kick off with some...
Longy.
Yeah.
Penis.
with some information or some stuff on a Toys R Us exclusive. We'll get on to Toys R Us later on. As there's going to be a Studio Series version of, oh god, what was his name? Nitro Zeus. And he's going to be redone and slightly remolded into Thundercracker. So I would, suspect perhaps at some point in the future a white one with red and blue on it, and perhaps a black and purple one at the very least. Yeah,
I think black and purple is pretty likely. I don't know about the white one. Depends on how long the Studio Series lasts. But...
Yeah, I say the white one because we've seen it before.
It's an exclusive, so it's the Toys R Us exclusive. So there are no certainties anymore.
True, but yeah, we'll get onto that later. So we have box art and images of the toy. We have him in a few poses. We can see his jet mode, which it's a much darker blue than I'd maybe like. I'd like a nice bright poppy blue. So he just goes. Oh, he's got a new head. Does he have anything else that's new, or is that it?
I think I'm just looking at the picture Cybertron has up. No, because Cybertron has a full gallery.
Oh right, okay.
I sent it over to you. But yeah, I think the head is the only new piece, which I suppose that's the easiest one to replace in him.
Yeah. Do we know if it's headmastery? Like, can you remove the head like you could with Nitro Zeus, which was always a weird feature?
Think you might like I'm saying. I'm looking at the pictures here. They confirmed, by the way, the Nitro Zeus thing was from an old script.
What you mean?
Originally Cogman was going to take over his body.
Oh right, yeah.
It was guaranteed in the movie, but then it got cut.
Yeah, that's not surprising. That makes sense for the toy.
Yeah. It's difficult to tell. I'm just looking. It looks like he's got a neck joint that doesn't look like a standard ball joint or something like that. So I think he might still be a headmaster.
Okay.
But the way his chin is structured and everything else, mandibles. It's difficult to see how far his head is floating above the body. But
yeah, he's certainly got a much more bug-like head than Starscream has.
He's it's a spider. He's tarantulas.
Yeah, kind of. Actually, that could maybe work better as a repaint with that head.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's like, it doesn't look like any version of Thundercracker from the movie fiction we've had.
No, nor does it look like a one that would have a little tiny pet dog.
No. If it had a dog, he probably ate it.
Yeah, I could see that going into his weird bug mouth. What do you think of it, bar that? Do you think it's a good redo of Nitro Zeus?
The head is distracting, I won't lie. It's just
in a good
not
way?
It's not just that it's weird and it's sort of insecty thing. It doesn't look like a Transformers movie head sculpt. it looks like a Beast Wars set sculpt.
Oh, like a mutant mask kind of thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really doesn't look like it's weird. It's like someone over-designed it. As for the actual body, I think the paintwork really makes it pop quite nicely. The blue's a little overly deep.
Yeah.
But I can sort of live with that. I hear it's a very, very good mold, especially like the engineering on it is apparently nuts. And I would say if I was getting one, as much as I do love the old Nitro Zeus and what he clearly was doing with people's wives, I would get the Thundercracker one. It just looks better.
Or would you hold out for another version?
I don't know, like the Skywarp. I mean, I like Skywarp's colors, but
Might have a different head, less weird bug-like.
Might have a different head, but ho hum.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I find the chest really distracting because it's just big and grey and doesn't feel again very Thundercrackery. Kind of breaks up what I would assume a Thundercracker to look like.
There's a lot of paint in this guy, though.
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah, it seems to be. Well, at the very least, either a lot of paint or a lot of different molded plastic.
No, I'm just looking. Certain details are highlighted in different colors to Nitro Zeus, so it must be some sort of paint.
Weird.
At least here and there. But...
Did you see there was a knockoff that popped up of Nitro Zeus that was bigger or something and had more paint apps and stuff?
And had the chain, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear much about it. Was that received well?
I think it was Wei Zhang.
That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, if you're in the market for a Thundercracker and you didn't want to get the Nitro Zeus because you thought it was horribly underpainted, like I did, this might be an option for you. I would prefer, personally, I would prefer the Nitro Zeus head, and I still think I would prefer this to be redone as a movie Shockwave, which a lot of people have said because it just works and you just colour him purple and maybe not give him the hand for his fist for one of his hands, and there you go. So yeah, he seems to be bobbing out in stores. At least I think someone picked him up in Canada. Oh no, it was in San Diego.
Yeah, he's hit shelves now.
Yeah. Apparently there's a street date. Apparently this is early. He's meant to come out at some point. Date. Yeah, because people do that for video games. I guess there's stuff like that for toys as well. Apparently his proper release date is going to be sometime in April. So if Toys R Us is still around at that point, which we'll get to, keep your eyes open, I guess. Ho-ho. And I'll also take this quick story because I'm not going to read all of this, Gubbins, because you kind of covered it last week, didn't you, Mikey?
More or less.
But we got an image, at least, of... This is a press release for the Transformers Shadows Rising, arcade game by Sega. The huge buzz and excitement for launch of Transformers Shadow Rising! ! And then there's a big, huge thing.
I question that statement.
I would also question it.
I'm scrolling down to see if there is huge buzz and or excitement.
Is there?
I love Human Alliance. I play it a few times a year. Spend tons of money just to beat it. Lol.
Was that a sarcastic lol or an actual lol?
Don't know. Wish arcade shooters would come home to consoles.
Yeah.
Neat. My wife and I really enjoyed. Basically, this is just people who went to the arcade a couple of times.
Yeah, which is fair enough. I mean, this is where it's at. For those interested, apparently the game has only 4 levels, which doesn't sound like a lot, really. Depending on how long those levels are, I don't think it says here. The monitor is going to be 55 inches, so it's a biggie. And players can use the brand new Hyper Energy Tech lever to either tactically destroy multiple enemies at once or defend against difficult enemies' attack moves. So there's a little bit more than the usual you hide behind a wall. Or maybe that is the equivalent of hiding behind a wall, a la the best light gun game, which was Time Crisis. Or House of the Dead 3, but only in arcades where you got a shotgun to pump. Yeah. Because that was amazing as a small child to pump a fake shotgun. That was super good. But the reason I put this story in here, Mikey, was because we get a look at the cabinet and where you're going to be sitting and what you're going to be sitting inside. Mikey, what are you sitting inside?
In his boobs!
Yep, you were sitting inside a Optimus Prime truck, which is fine. But then for some reason they've decided to put a giant Optimus Prime head with eyes that glow bright, horrible blue on top of that, looking down menacingly.
Yep.
It's a if I was a young child, like 3 or 4, I think this would look pretty scary.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I would be afraid.
Yeah.
I
Like
would not
not
want to deal with
now,
this.
but if you're a small kid and you just happen to walk through like an arcade and you saw this, I could see kids being freaked out by it. But yeah, Mikey, any thoughts on this thing?
It's possessed.
It is. It doesn't make me feel good. Makes me feel nervous, uncomfortable, and all that jazz.
Makes me feel bad in my tum-tum.
That's right. I'm not. If you really want to, you can go and read their press release, but it doesn't have a huge amount of really, well, I would class as interesting stuff. But you can if you want. Mikey, tell us of things that happened in the world of Japan.
Well, we had another comic come out, and this is one of the 4 Koma comics for Legends. And if you don't know, 4 Koma they're if you're familiar with sort of Japanese manga and stuff like that, they are the ones that are usually stories told in 4 panels running horizontal or running vertically. And you'll usually get 2 per page, and they usually just frequently gag manga, and then they get turned into anime where it's just like, this seems overly wrought for the subject.
Are you talking about Aho Girl?
It's just like, how did you convert that to that? Tried reading that manga. What
Aho Girl?
Yeah, the mother is much worse.
Really? Wow, that's impressive because she's pretty bad in the anime.
She literally tries to sell her. No. I mean, like, she grabs a random guy off the street and says she will give him money to have sex with her daughter.
Oh man, wow.
And take her away. The key point is take her away. And he's very uncomfortable with all of this.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But anyway, so Sakamoto has produced a new one called L59 Prologue Big Sensei, which is the story of basically how the Legends Big Convoy, or in this case just Big, became the sort of robotic big man that he would be to help Blitzwing discover his sense of self-worth and then advise himself to later listen to himself in the future. So this is pretty simple. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sections to this, but they're nice and quick.
Neat.
So first off, we have Year 3 Class B Big Sensei. At a Legends high school full of the Beast Wars Neo cast, who appear to be bonchos. Things are not going well in the class as they're waiting for the new teacher. Longrack wants someone disciplined, Karada wants someone who can boss him around, and Break doesn't give a damn. The teacher is big. He's huge and scary, and he comes into the classroom, and then he runs out of the classroom because, oh my god, Transformer toys are coming out.
Is that literally what he does there?
Yep. Big is basically supposed to be teaching them national history for his first class, but he's bored and has decided to teach them Transformers history instead. He is a massive Transformers fan.
This sounds like something you would do, Mikey.
So he's going into Microman and Diaclone. Longrack is noting that none of this is in the textbooks and asks if it'll be on the test, and then Big goes, yes, we should have a test. And no one likes Longrack. So yeah, Big is literally obsessed with Transformers and is trying to introduce it into classes. In the staff meeting later on, Big is asking if they can change the acronym HR for homeroom to TF for Transformers. Principal Magmatron asked what the class will do in those hours, in their homeroom hour instead. Big tells him they'll talk about Transformers. Obviously. Duh. Magmatron points out that that's what Big is already teaching them in the homeroom and considers firing him. Let's see. Oh, yes, Karada's being delinquent. He's shaking Stampy down for lunch money. And Big is talking to the snake afterward, and he's saying, like, you need to be nice. And Karada's saying, yeah, but I just want money to play around with. And Big is such a nice guy. He decides to give him a little something. Cyber keys, which let you play with toys in all kinds of ways. Karada's not really happy about this, throws them away because he wanted the goddamn money. Next up is their sports day. Break shows off his skating and is annoyed when Big is rewarding him for skating not with a gold medal, but with a cyber key.
The Vector Prime one, to be very precise.
Yep. Then they have a cavalry fight, which is basically 4 guys carry 1 guy and they all try to steal ribbons off each other. And, the teachers are involved, so naturally Class B picks up Big, but he's a mammoth. So they all get squished. Then it's preparatory reviewer Longrack. So during class, Longrak tells Big that he is now studying very hard on Transformers, and is so sort of swept up in Big's enthusiasm, he's neglecting every other subject.
Oops.
And Big has a slight breakdown. He realizes he's being a poor influence and immediately starts teaching normal subjects. Now, a few days later, Big wakes up in the body of a robotic mammoth, and D-Navi tells him that he's contracted Transformer sickness.
Who?
Which
Who's
he has
D-Navi,
been
Mikey?
actively trying. D-Navi is the evil bitch drone thing from Beast Wars Neo, who literally wanted to have sex with a Triceratops.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that bit.
I did. Heinrad. He was not safe. Not Heinrad.
Gildart?
Gildart, thank you. But he's basically he's been trying to get sick, so he's been exposing himself to Transformer stuff 24/7. D-Navi tells him, "Don't worry, there's a cure now." He runs out of the room and throws the medicine out of a window. Because nope. Now we cut to the middle of the Blitzwing story where the Quintessons are invading, and Big is on the way home from the doctor, possibly to tell the doctor to get stuffed. He sees Blitzwing despairing and begins looking for a football coach to help the Decepticon out. Failing to find one, he realizes he can be the coach and decides to disguise himself as a Decepticon strategist and help out.
Ah, there you go.
So yeah, that is what's going on here. Big convoy as a gigantic Transformers nerd is not something I ever expected to see in my lifetime.
Did we find out why he turned from a normal mammoth to the cyber mammoth?
Transformers sickness.
Transformer sickness, that was the reason. Okay.
Yeah, because in the Legends universe, a lot of them get changed by this Transformer sickness that's caught from Transformers from the regular universe, and he's such a nerd, he's been trying to catch it for ages.
Right, okay. Has that been introduced beforehand?
Yeah, Transformer sickness is an old idea.
Oh, I must have missed that. I do have a question as well. Why in the robot modes do particularly the Maximals all have swirly eyes like they're insane? Is that because they are insane?
I think that's just because he's so obsessed.
Because it's on Long Rack as well, I noticed.
Yeah, but he's also like, "Oh my god, I'm learning from you! I'm learning from you!
I'm looking into the darkness and it's looking back." I'm glad to see that the bad guys are always given positions of power in this universe as well.
Yep.
Like Magmatron being a principal again is a very, very weird concept. Who's who's Galvatron meant to be in this universe? Is he like what's his name? Chalmers, Seymour and what's that? What's his position? It's Principal Skinner
Superintendent.
Superintendent is Galvatron the superintendent in this universe?
I don't know. But Galvatron doesn't exist in this universe.
Does he not?
No, because the Galvatron body is just one Mayor Megatron uses.
No, the Beast Wars 2 Galvatron.
Oh yeah,
that one.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean,
my mind is blown.
Don't it make sense, right? Because they are two separate entities. Magmatron and that Galvatron aren't the same guy, are they? Or are they?
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought they might have been, but yeah.
Galvatron ends up being a Unicron host for like half of Beast Wars Neo, but
woo.
And then there's some weird stories where like Galvatron. Oh yeah. There's a Beast Wars Uprising story where Galvatron is literally the old Galvatron.
What?
But he's like a Predacon who was infected with a Galvatron disease, because that was the thing.
A Galvatron disease?
Yep, you can blame Jim Sorensen for this one. And it morphed him into a sort of pink version of the Beast Hunter's Optimus.
What?
And and he became Galvatron.
That's weird.
Good design. Really, that toy was in the works at one point, and I'm really disappointed it never got made.
Huh. Strange. Either way, strange. Neat. Well, thank you, Mikey, for telling us of what's been going on in Japan with the story. I like it. I these little comics, they've popped up before online, but I don't think we've had a lot of synopsises on them, as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed out. This is why I cover them, so Mikey can find out about them and tell me about them. So it's mainly for me at this point. Shall we move us on, Mikey?
Yes.
Renamed listings for upcoming Transformers Studio Series Deluxe class figures. So apparently a popular Swedish retailer which I'm not going to try and pronounce, have alternative named Transformers movie series deluxe class figures. Previously known Sentry is named as KSI Sentry, which may mean that the toy could very well be KSI Robot from Age of Extinction. Since it's a deluxe class figure, it rules out the possibility of Galvatron due to the fact that the Studio Series adheres to relevant size scales. Codename Mercury is titled as Raider. It is unsure whether this is another code name or is an actual name. Blue Light is given the name Unknown Hero. That's great. Implying it's going to be an Autobot of some description. Striker 1 remains as Striker 1. Since Hasbro France still keeps their Studio Series 01 Bumblebee as Striker 2, it's not too hard to assume that this will be the VW Beetle alt mode for Bumblebee. That's the assumption. All the above figures are rumored to be part of the upcoming movie Bumblebee the Movies, or alternatively named Transformers Bumblebee toy line. 3 names actually made sense, but the inclusion of KSI Sentry throws the fact off a little when considering the wider continuity. Any thoughts, Mikey? Are you excited for the potential of new things?
Sure.
Cool, good. I'm glad.
There's nothing to say, really, is there?
No. It's just maybe there'll be something interesting, maybe there won't be. It's weird that this is how we might find out about new stuff through a weird new naming thing through Sweden. So, that could be some new stuff. Mikey, tell me about vinyls. I want to know about records and vinyls.
Yeah, so these
records.
were announced. These were announced a little while ago that we were getting the Transformers G1 soundtrack vinyl. And I didn't actually think it would be getting a wide release.
No,
and
same.
It didn't. But the official release of the Generation 1 cartoon series background music happened on Friday, which was March 8th. So, only be on vinyl. Limited copies were available. 3 variants: Optimus, Megatron, Bumblebee. The Bumblebee colored one was a ThinkGeek.com exclusive, while the Optimus Megatron ones were found at EnjoyTheRideRecords.com. There were 500 copies of Optimus and Megatron, with the full pressing being 2,000, so 1,000 versions of Bumblebee. There's no plan for digital release. These were $19 to buy. Press release just features music from seasons 1 to 3, debuted in 1984. Excited to share with fans. Blah 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 blah. And there's a big press release. It gives all the theme songs. There are 22 on side 1 and 18 on side 2. I won't go through them all. But I suspect there were more tracks used between all 3 seasons. I mean, is this down as the complete release, or is it just down as the release?
I think it's just the release, right?
Yeah, because like those fan versions were bigger than this, I would swear.
Yeah, same.
Need to listen to those at some point. Especially once you get into like season 3. Then again, maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, this was just going to the usual thing. Now, this was very interesting and kind of cool. Like, vinyl is making its big comeback in sort of the collector market.
Oh, okay. The hipsters are coming.
But Andy, if you were a hipster, would you like to buy this?
Not really.
You can't. You can't. You can't have it.
Oh.
So,
well, it's just
take
as
your
well.
naysaying ass backwards. Because these sold out within a couple of hours.
Oh, how many did you say were made?
2,000 all in all.
Okay, so yeah, I could see them going out pretty quick, to be honest.
So yeah, they went damn fast.
All right.
So I don't know if there'll ever be a second printing of them, but the fact they sold out in less than a day, probably means that they'll probably, I would consider it. Because they took in about 40,000 from these.
Wow.
Almost. So
that's not bad. That sounds all right.
But yeah, there's not much else to say on that one. Apart from, it's neat. And you can't have one anymore because you're all losers.
If you bought one, Mikey, would you want to put it in a frame like one of those golden vinyls? Gonal vinyl.
The gonal vinyl.
Ooh, specking well today. Jesus.
Well, I don't have a player, so I'd have to.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, how many people have vinyl players unless you're a mixer DJ kind of lad?
Well, people do buy them now. Like I said, it's a collector thing. People buy. No, vinyl's big again. Vinyl's getting really big again. People buy things specifically to play vinyl.
Weird.
My sister has like 2. She's big into her vinyl.
And I have a friend. Count. You keep telling me she's not a real person.
No, but I have a friend in Portsmouth who's almost certainly real. And she has been collecting vinyl for her whole life. She almost never buys anything else.
Does she bleed vinyl?
I've never cut her. I would not say. Apparently, like, the audio quality hasn't really improved that much, so it's not exactly the best way to hear these. But
I thought vinyl was meant to be the best way to listen to things.
No.
Or is that just what old people say?
That it's the way that is supposed to be the most meaningful. It's not the one where they sound the best.
What do you mean the most meaningful?
Well, you know the kind of people who buy vinyl?
Right, hipsters.
They're the
as
type
far as
of,
I'm aware.
they're the type of people who are like very much into their like you got to listen to music the right way.
Oh right, okay.
It's not a bit like you're a guy who's like, well, audio quality.
Sure, yeah.
They're like, no, you gotta be in a mood.
I wonder what our podcast
Nerds!
would sound like if it was on vinyl.
Well, Andy, we'll never find out, will we?
Nope.
We'll never know.
I wonder, like, how... I mean, I wonder if just...
Someone put us on vinyl and find out.
Yeah, like, how could, like, Simple Andy record... Like, could I put us on vinyl? Like, what is that process? I'd have to have some kind of vinyl CD maker or something, wouldn't I?
Well, yeah, I expect it to be a wee bit on the expensive side.
Oh, yeah, I imagine so.
You'd actually have to acquire vinyl.
Wait to the point where you can 3D print out a thing that makes vinyl records.
But you'd still have to get the stuff to put in the thing to make the vinyl.
Not if you then use a 3D printer to make that stuff.
You still have to get it. It doesn't print air.
Yeah, it does. It's like a replicator from Star Trek.
That doesn't make any sense either.
It gets molecules and it rearranges them, Mikey.
Where's it getting the molecules from?
The air.
They're in space. There is no air.
There's the recycled air in their systems.
They're all drinking their own pee.
I like the idea that they're just recycling their air, slowly killing themselves just to get another granule of bread.
It's just the oxygen content drops every time.
That's why no one's fat in that Star Trek series.
Well, they've all got severe oxygen deprivation.
That's right. They can't make too much food, otherwise they die.
Mm.
There you go. That makes sense.
What about Riker in season 3 on?
I mean, age has an effect, and it's not a real show.
He was a big boy.
He was a big boy, bless him. Mikey, shall I take us on? Actually, no,
Yes.
no. I'm gonna take this story, which is playtime is over. It's
not.
over, Mikey. It's
No.
over.
Never!
Fun is dead. At least in the USA as well, as they seem to
To
be
be fair,
following
fun's
the
been dead
US.
in America for a very long time.
Yeah. Arguably.
Oh, come at us. You're far away in Kansas.
Well, last week, obviously, me and Mike talked about the fact that Toys R Us entered administration here in the UK, and now it seems like the US branches are on the brink of liquidation, or going into liquidization, so yay!
Yep.
Bloomberg, I think it says, reports that Toys R Us Inc. is making preparations to liquidate the entire USA operations after attempts to find buyers or reach a deal with lenders, loan sharks, to manage the chain's debt. Bloomberg's source suggests that the situation has deteriorated over the last few days, making liquidization increasingly likely. So that's not good. There's no word yet on the TRU, or Toys R Us, in Canada, which obviously went bankrupt last September. And I would say this, more importantly, no information on the Japanese stuff either. Do we know if the Japanese Toys R Us is doing okay?
No idea.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is that right now the only one confirmed to go into liquidation is US.
Okay, so we're just
Canada-
in administration.
We're in administration. Canada went through bankruptcy. There's no... the Asian branch is in the process of being offloaded.
Oh, really? Okay.
Don't know what that actually means.
No.
So business people, translate. But basically, the biggest toy seller on Earth is in serious fucking trouble.
Yeah. I mean,
and it probably won't be around next year.
I mean, it's not surprising with the decisions they've made, as we've talked about before, through having debt put on them and their general practices. It's not a huge surprise, but also the fact that kids are usually playing more video games and playing with the phones now, kind of it all adds up.
Yeah, but what if your parents could buy you stuff not without having to like sell a kidney?
Yeah, I mean that would help.
That would help as well.
It would help.
I mean, like, what was it? I was reading the Power Rangers thing from Hasbro during the week.
Yeah.
And they were like, they're marketing themselves as, hey, we're the guys who realized that people who played with Power Rangers when they were a child might still want to do some Power Ranger stuff.
Yeah.
And they were saying like 20% of all sales now is adult collectors.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, but
it's not surprising, but it's like that market used to that percentage used to be a lot smaller like 10 years ago, so didn't it?
Yep. Yeesh. But where do adults mostly do their shopping these days?
Yeah, online, not in the stores.
Because it's cheaper.
Yep.
Unless it's Big Bad Toy Store.
See, for me, I suppose I'm hoping as long as the Japanese market is nice and healthy, which I don't think that's ever going to go away, because the Japanese have that collector's market.
The Japanese toy market is way, way, way stronger than the Western one. So, like, Japanese Toys R Us is probably going to get fucked over, but I wouldn't have any worry about the Japanese toy market. I mean, that is huge.
Yeah, thank God for Japan.
The toy market itself, like, they've lost Toys R Us, but there's no words. Like, Toys R Us account for 15% of US toy sales.
Mm-hmm.
So you are losing 15% of sales, but that still leaves 85% of sales still going.
Yeah.
So, like, I think I have seen this a few times. People going like, "Oh my God, the toy industry is dying. No, God, no, it'll die, and we'll never get anything else again." I think that might be a slight overreaction.
Perhaps. It does show like a downwards turn, but for me, it just means even if, say, the Western markets toys fade away, like we just said, Japan's is not going anywhere.
No. Plus, like, maybe it will teach the other ones not to have better business practices.
Oh, Mikey. Why would people learn from their mistakes? Oh, that's ironic. I just went onto Twitter and I see a gif of Cisco shaking his head, closing his eyes, and putting his hand into his face. I'm like, well, that's quite convenient. Well done, internet. You timed that well.
Well timed, Intertubes.
Yeah, congrats. So sad times, definitely for the people more so than any that might or will probably lose their jobs. That's the biggest downside here. Again, for me personally, Toys R Us is closing down means absolutely nothing to me as a person who collects toys. Just because, like we've said before, I don't go there. I think a lot of people might go in every now and again, just to like browse about. But I don't think, if they can help it, people primarily shop at a Toys R Us. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Correct us. Just correct us. Tell us if we're wrong, people.
Yeah. Mikey, do you want to take the next, or the last two stories, I should say?
Yeah, well, first off, we've got some comic news. Chris Ryall is leaving IDW.
Oh.
Chris has been the sort of editor-in-chief for a very, very long time. He was major reason Transformers got the start it did at IDW. He also wrote some books, including ROM, and I will always thank him for that. But yeah, so he used to handle letters and everything else with the Chris Charger avatar, which was his head on Alternator Windcharger's body.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, so he has, driving force, was a major contributor to the idea of the Hasbro verse, the Hasbro universe, in comic form. He is decided to move on to greener pastures. He left a farewell message reflecting he has been with the publisher for 14 years, parts on good terms to see good challenges and good opportunities. Fairly standard nonsense.
Does it say where he's going?
No.
Oh.
Full message is up on comicsbeat.com. But at the same time, Stephen Scott, IDW's PR man, is also leaving, but no offense, Stephen, no one knows who you are.
Oh.
But yeah, Chris Ryall, he used to also handle a lot of the moderator work on the IDW forum when that was a thing.
Right.
And pissed off loads of people during the All Hail Megatron era.
Oh, how did he do that? I think this sounds familiar.
He was quite strict on the posts.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. And people, All Hail Megatron and ongoing was not a happy time.
No, those were not super good comics.
No. But yeah, so I did sort of check out possibly not wisely, the TFW reaction to the whole thing.
Oh, yes.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Basically, the people who don't like, for some reason, this morphed into,
Right.
hey, I don't like transsexuals and gays and the marriages and the feelings and the differences in comics, and it's all Chris Ryall's fault.
What?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. One, that's not cool. Two, I'm not sure how that's Chris Ryall's fault.
No, and apparently, like, if you disagree, you're Eurotrash leftist scum.
Okay, cool.
So it got rather heated. I don't know if it's still going on. But cool.
No,
TFW. Sometimes you're not good.
Disappointing sometimes, definitely.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you happen to have commented on that thread and you are of the opinion that Chris Ryall is literally the source of all evil and that evil basically can be boiled down to treat people like fucking human beings, maybe rethink your life choices.
Maybe.
Because that's not nice.
No.
And also, I would say that given John Barber was the main editor of Transformers at the time, he's kind of got more stake in it all.
Are you shoving the blame over to John now?
Quick, everyone, go for him! All he does now is right.
Is this where you pick him up and just throw him into the lion's den? Fuck you!
Run, Chris! Like Overlord with Fort Max. All you have to do is not kill him.
There you go.
But yeah, also don't harass John Barber.
No.
He's lovely, and it's a ridiculous thing to harass someone. It's a ridiculous thing to. I saw one guy on Twitter like completely flip out.
Oh, over this.
Oh yeah, like a 5-post massive, very verbal, unpleasant thing sent directly to Chris Ryall, and I'm just like, does the idea of men marrying men and people having a gender identity that does not conform to your own threaten you that much?
Yeah, I guess.
It's weird.
It is.
Like, as someone who's fairly critical of Lost Light at the moment, that's a weird response.
Yeah.
Because that comic has issues. The fact that two of the characters are transgender is not one of them.
No.
The fact that one is an annoying cow who does my head in is one of them.
Come on, Mikey. Robot cow, please. Robot cow.
Space cow.
That works too.
Basically, I don't like a node as a person.
No.
But yeah, so nice to see a nice reasoned response to things. Andy, any thoughts on Chris going?
I wish him the best. I wonder what this means for the future of the comics and how direction or the comics will be affected, of course. But yeah,
of course.
Just have to see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. Other comic news. This kind of came out of nowhere. So, a couple of weeks ago, we had announced that there was going to be a Bumblebee original graphic novel, written by the writers of the X-Men 92 comic from Marvel, Chad Bowers and Chris Sims, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, I said Chris Sims was a slightly controversial figure in the comic world, due to his early days where he was quite unpleasant to people. And IDW, I don't know if these are anyway related or anything, or if people just decided they didn't want to be involved in the project or whatever. But IDW, during the week, announced that they were going to be replaced by James Asmus. On Twitter, it was, we're pleased to announce incoming writer James Asmus will be taking over scripting duties for the upcoming Bumblebee OGN this September. He will join previously announced artist Marcello Ferriera, sorry if I murdered your name, on this brand new Transformers adventure. James has done some work for Marvel, Image, Valiant. He wrote 4 episodes of My Little Pony. 4 issues of My Little Pony, sorry. It's just interesting, one, that this is happening. Because what kind of things happen to lead to both authors coming off and being replaced within 2 weeks of the announcement? Or maybe 3 weeks, I don't know. And 2, this seems very short notice.
Yeah.
I mean, if the comic is due out in September, then it's got to be, primarily done by now, at least the scripting phase. So, I don't know. I would assume it was primarily done by now anyway.
Any thoughts as to maybe why, Mr. Mikey?
Not a clue. Not a clue. Like, the only thing I can think of is something to do, like, Sims and Bauer pulled out for some reason, but I've no idea. Like, there's no information provided on it.
Strange.
Any thoughts yourself, Andy?
Not particularly. I'm not super interested in it, as it's not a comic that I think will be targeted, even in my general direction. So I can't say I'm like super interested either way to really have any thoughts on it, to be honest.
I don't know. Just keep an eye out, really.
I suppose, yeah.
And yeah, Andy takes on to our last story then.
Our last story is, it seems like Power of the Primes has a new reveal, and it's going to be Wreck-Gar. Yay! It's going to be Wreck-Gar out of the Groove mold. The Groove mold that was exclusive to Japan for Combiner Wars for a bit, and then finally came over to the USA. Hooray! Right? It did come over, didn't it? It did, yes.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did, yes. Yeah, so, Mikey, we see an image of Wreck-Gar with his papoose, as you like to call him, and as they're called. He seems to be holding that and a flower tip for some reason, because there seems to be a little joint venture between him and Mapta.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but that's the picture he's with, or the thing he's with. So, Mikey, I suppose the main question is, Wreck-Gar, how do you think he looks? Do you think it's a good mold?
His head is tiny.
It is incredibly small, yes.
It's so wee.
It's better than the last Wreck-Gar that we got.
His head was the right size.
Yeah, but he was a Legends toy that no one wanted.
Was he?
Yeah, do you remember the Combiner Wars Groove
before
also this one?
With the giant legs.
Yes.
Oh, God, yes.
Yep.
Oh, his legs were so big.
Yep.
They went on for days, Andy.
I know, I remember.
I'd
certainly argue that this is not the best version of Wreck-Gar we've had. The Generations one looks a lot better than this.
Just that I can't look away from his tiny head, and the fact that he really does just look like Groove. Like, they didn't even redo the tires.
Yeah, that's a shame. I don't know if you could have had spikes to them or something, but it is just a repaint bar the head, which seems to be a new mold, and that's it. And that to me is a bit boring.
Yeah. I can't say he's really setting me aflame.
No, who do you think he's meant to go with as well for a combiner?
I don't know. I mean, he could be like Blast Off and just be an exclusive release.
Maybe that's it. Or maybe he's meant to go with Elita 1, maybe?
Maybe? I don't know. Because she's missing one limb.
Yep, and we're all hoping it's going to... Well, I'm hoping at least it's going to be another lady.
Aileron.
Yeah? Oh, that'd be cool. I'd like that.
Yeah.
Though shouldn't she be a Legends figure? I think she'd probably work better as a Legends.
No. I mean, she's wide, and she's a decent size.
I suppose. But she is quite small. She is quite a wee little robot.
Aileron.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Maybe our dreams will have a full a second full female combiner team that has a little bit better of a look to it than, say, the Faces, which I was still never a fan of for Victorion. We needed better faces on that. But yeah, there we go. That's it. That's all of our news for this week, Mr. Mikey. It's
a quiet one.
Yeah, very, very quiet. So I guess I'll ask you then, sir. What have you been up to this week? Has there been anything fun in the world of the Mikey?
Fun is for the week.
Woo!
No fun anymore, Andy. Toys R Us gone.
No, it's true.
What have I done this week? Let's see. TV-wise, today I actually watched the first couple episodes of Jessica Jones Season 2 and most of Defenders.
Oh, hang on. I didn't know. Hang on, Defenders Season 2 or Defenders Season 1?
Season 1, never seen it.
Okay, right.
Still haven't seen Iron Fist, actually.
Yeah. What do you think of Defenders first? Because I've seen that, so I know about that.
It's okay. It's messy.
Yes.
I am surprised by how little, like, the show works at its best when the characters are interacting with each other. Like, I think Danny is basically just, like, a slightly lighter version of Oliver Queen from Arrow. But he does work fairly well when he's playing off Luke. And Jessica works well when she's playing off of Luke. And Matt plays off everyone pretty well. And the show spends remarkably little time doing that. It becomes very, very plot focused, so you don't feel like these relationships are being established. You feel like they're just there.
Yeah.
And the only ones that really feel like they, matter are the ones that already exist, that you had another show to build up. Also, the Elektra stuff was nonsense.
Yeah.
That felt like a different writer came in halfway through and said, aha, what? This would be a twist.
No, it wouldn't be.
But, yeah, it was okay. really surprised we didn't get some Heroes for Hire set up. From Luke and Danny, but it was okay. It was like not everyone did the best with what they had, but they weren't always given the best stuff. Like there's a fight scene early on between Iron Fist and Luke Cage, and it's not good.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
There was a couple of fight scenes that are in it. They're pretty solid. They're not at up to Daredevil's level, but they're decent. Just the side characters, I don't know what they're trying to do. Like the Daredevil side characters were a bit all over the place. Misty Knight ended up pretty well throughout, and then they're set up for her getting cyborg arm, which is a thing.
Is that? Okay.
Misty Knight has a cyborg arm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I have to admit, at the end, I was just like, for God's sake, just get them married already. Apparently they said there's no plans for season 2, which probably says a lot, because Netflix does season 2 for everything. But I would just just get Jessica and Luke married. That's all you have to do to make me think this television venture has worked. Literally all you have to do. I would say it's short, which means it's probably the easiest for uninvolved binge watching, but don't watch it if you're a fan of each of the shows and you want to get that vibe again. Because I don't think it really captures anything except maybe a bit of the Daredevil, maybe, and that's just because of the number of Daredevil characters who were in it. Also, it's like, oh my God, New York could die. No one's thinking about calling the Avengers. No one. Any of them? No. Jessica Jones was decent from what I've seen. I've seen 4 or 5 episodes, but I'm not really feeling a lot of urge to finish it.
Really? That's a shame, because I really liked the first season of Jessica Jones.
I think the first season of Jessica Jones is probably the only one that compares to Daredevil season 1. And I think it probably ekes it out in a lot of ways.
I like it more.
The way I described it, Daredevil has some obvious lows and some huge highs. Jessica Jones never hits the highs, never hits the lows. And it's very steady and solid throughout. Luke Cage is just an amazing main character, and then a back half where a bad villain kind of ruins the whole experience.
Yeah.
But the basic plot is she's sort of still suffering PTSD from killing Kilgrave, and her sister is now obsessed with finding out where she got her powers and if the people are doing it are still making people. And it's sort of it goes from there. There's a lot of messy character work for everyone who's not Jessica.
That's a shame.
Kirsten Ritter does an amazing job. I still love the character. It's just the sister is weirdly all over the place, more so than she was the first time around. There is no villain so far at all. Not even barely an antagonist. The lawyer lady who got in trouble for cheating on her wife last time.
Lady.
She has a lot of screen time, but so far she's done very little with it.
All right.
And there's this other PI guy introduced in the first episode who's just basically there to be a really bad caricature.
Oh.
But when it's working, it really does work. It's just I feel it's more messy than the first season. So yeah, I don't know if I'll finish it. In all seriousness, I'd like to, just because I like Jessica, and I think anything with her is gold. I think she's just a great actress in a great role. But it's just the pacing and everything else seems off, and I don't know. I can't have been rushed because it's been 3 fucking years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll need to look into it a bit more. We'll see. Apart from that, we had Build today, episode 26, the tournament arc.
What?
There's a tournament going on for who gets the bottles.
I saw Breckonated talk about this, and I was like, what? What?
I mean,
what's happening with Kamen Rider?
It's got to be a 2-episode arc. It can't be anything else with how it's set up. But no, this is a full-on tournament arc.
Okay.
Grease, Cross, and Build versus Rogue and the 2 Kaisers.
Cool.
The Hell Bros. I mean, the fight is pretty good. It's Grease versus one of the brothers, and it's nice, and there's some really good camera work in it. But there's also there's a traitor among us. who could the traitor be?
It's Mikey.
And no, it's not Mikey. I'm not. They don't like me.
That's why you're the perfect traitor.
But at the end, I'm just like, it's so almost painfully obvious who it is from the get-go.
Oh, I hate it when they do that, because when it's so painfully obvious, I start thinking it can't be them because it's too obvious it's them.
I will say, like, the show goes the same way as me, and just like, oh, you all know it's this person.
Mm.
So like, it's Sento knows, he knows, which means there's going to be a twist later on. But it just, who is the most obvious person for it to be? It's that person.
Okay.
And it does nothing to hide it, and I mean nothing. So yeah, it was a weird episode, and again, it's a tournament arc. I've never seen this happen before. Read a manga, which I haven't done in ages, called Beastars, which is basically what if Zootopia was fucking dark.
Okay.
Surprisingly good. Art style, not for you.
For me?
At all. No. That's the first thing I thought.
Specifically me. Why is that?
Yeah. Oh, it's so unclean.
Oh, okay.
So very unclean, and so the proportions are all over the place.
Oh.
But like, interesting read in all seriousness. Like, what if they basic premise is kind of Zootopia in school with more violence,
Right.
and some really disturbing moments,
Okay.
including like this impala guy selling his fingers to predators. And by selling his fingers, I mean he lets them bite him off his hands.
As you do.
As you do. It's I like, and it's a full visual of it as well. Like, oh good, I can see the bone.
Yay.
Yeah. Anime wise, we did Darling in the Franxx episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting one. This one, it's focused on side characters this time. So very little time spent with the main two. But no, I'm still really liking this show. Really, really liking it. Really plot heavy, so I can't really go into it, but some nice visuals and everything else. So yeah, really waiting for the other shoe to drop, because the continuing hints of there's some deep, dark, creepy secret. Just like something bad is coming in this show, Andy.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah, last one is Violet Evergarden had episode 9, and it was fucking incredible. That was amazing. It's a finale to a 2-part story. And in all seriousness, if this had been the ending of the show, this would have been the best possible ending. It's structured like an ending as well, like a finale episode. It's amazing. It's so well done. I can't tell you anything about it because it is rooted deeply in the story of the series. But it actually makes me slightly concerned that there's 3 or 4 episodes left to go.
I was going to say, is it kind of disappointing that you've still got episodes left? Because it can only kind of go downhill from here.
Well, now they can fuck it up, basically.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If they'd left it here, there is no fuck up. That was an amazing ending. Now it's just like they can sour this a bit. They can't spoil it, but they can sour it. But yeah, wow, just so good. I didn't buy anything this week, so yeah, that's me, Andy. What about you?
I just noticed on Twitter that Mr. Alex Milne has put up image of the copy of Rom vs. Transformers Shining Armor trade paperback.
Ooh.
Got all the images on there. Well, an image of a big pile of them, at least. Pretty neat.
Is he building a small tower?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a tower, but it's certainly a good little seat, at least. In terms of what I've done, what have I done? I finished off the story mode for Dragon Ball Fighters, so that's done. That was fun. I enjoyed it for the most part. It was dumb, but enjoyable enough. As good as most of the movies are, I'd say. Haven't done anything else. Saw my friend who came down and we hung out and chilled out and all that jazz. Didn't really get anything this week. I'm still waiting for my Figure Rise cell to appear, and hopefully he should come soon, because he's got a few days and then he's outside the estimated delivery date, and I'll be like, "Where's my stuff, you bastard?" Oh, I watched Geostorm. Have you heard of that, Mikey?
No.
It's a Gerard Butler movie where people have created a satellite that goes in space and helps control the weather. A weather-dominating machine, if you would.
Well, naturally.
And people try and hijack it and make it look like a cover-up and a setup so they can kill a load of people on Earth and create a geostorm, which is where all these storms take place, and subsequently this makes a geostorm which covers the entire planet, which sounds pretty dumb. And it's a pretty dumb, terrible movie, because, Mikey, did you know if lightning hits a building enough, it explodes?
I mean, where is it hitting?
Just the roof.
Oh, just the roof. Explodes.
It fully explodes.
Are there canisters on the roof?
No,
It just blows up.
it just explodes.
I don't think that's science.
No. They also have a giant space laser for heat, and I tried to figure out how that would help the weather, and I couldn't.
Mhm.
I couldn't figure it out, as they pretty much eviscerate Moscow with a heat laser, a la a 80s cartoons kind of space laser. And I don't know Dubai and the ocean, but there is a giant tsunami that is as tall as their tallest buildings. And I don't know how the weather machine makes that happen, but it just does. It's not very good, but I enjoyed the stupidness and me going, what? No! Oh boy, this is it's terrible. It's terrible. And it's one of those movies where it makes you think it's one dude so hard. It's like, hey, it's this dude. And you're like, it can't be that dude. And you're like, but this movie isn't very smart, so it could very well be that dude. Is it that dude? Oh, I don't know. That's the thing. When it's a smart movie, you're like, oh man, it could be anyone. When it's a dumb movie, you're like, it could be anyone, because I don't know how where the director was or the writers were wanting to go with this. Were they wanting to go the obvious route, or were they going like, oh, it's really this guy? It's really this guy? No, it's not. But it was. It was poo. I was glad when I finished it. I'm caught up for the most part with Dragon Ball Super. I watched episode 129. That fight's still going. The tournament arc is still going. It's still a little bit long, and I'm not invested at this point. I kind of want it to wrap up, and I want the wrap-up episodes more so than anything else, so we can have more character stuff. That's what I'm interested in. And because I never did it, I am watching currently the Great Saiyaman saga of Dragon Ball Kai. I kind of stopped Kai when it finished the Cell saga, because they didn't have any more episodes after that at that point.
For what, 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I didn't even know that they'd done the rest of Kai and finally dubbed it and stuff, so...
the way it went is that Japan stopped, and then America was doing it, and they were like, oh, we want the rest, and then they decided they would do Kai... I don't know if it was like Americans did a Kai version of the Buu saga, and then Japan did theirs, or if the Japan just did theirs in response to American demand. But basically, it was never. They were, once it got cut off at the Cell saga, they were kind of thinking they were done.
Why did they stop at the Cell saga? I mean, that's...
I don't think they had the viewership they hoped.
Huh. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
And also, a lot of people always say, "Oh, well, that was the intended ending."
Yeah.
Which has always been kind of a bit iffy if that was true.
Yeah.
But
it would have been a good point to end it on.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have gotten Vegeta.
No, that's true, but it was definitely a good point to end it on, because, you know...
No offense to Gohan, I don't care about him.
I think it was a good idea to have the passing of the torch, but then that torch, when the Buu saga came back, was quickly ripped out of Gohan's hands, and he was kicked into a volcano.
Yep.
I will be the only winner here. Because it's true, isn't it? There's only two people who win the day. It's Gohan's won it twice. Once was a movie, once was in the series, and the rest of the time it's Goku, right?
Trunks counts as well now.
Does he? How?
He technically beat Merged Zamasu.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's also like, you know, did you know Goku has won exactly one tournament?
I can believe that.
And it was the one against Piccolo.
Right. Well, did he win because he killed Piccolo, didn't he?
No, not that Piccolo. Like the tournament fight with regular Piccolo.
Piccolo Jr. rather than King Piccolo.
Piccolo.
Okay.
But yeah, he's never won. He's like Ash. He keeps going to the bloody Pokemon League, and he never finishes it.
Yeah, weird. Well, he did once, and that was enough.
Yeah.
So
don't get your hopes up for Jiren, guys. Patterns repeat.
And they're still so hard trying to save Frieza's not about, but he totally is.
Totally not going to be the guy who wins.
No, totally not.
But so what did you think of Great Seaman Saga?
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. Where am I up to? Vidal's just came round to the house and her mum's accused her of being a hussy.
Wait, she has a mother?
No. Gohan's mum's Chi-Chi's
right.
accusing Vidal of being a hussy.
Oh, I remember that. That was really awkward.
It was, because it really makes out that Chi-Chi and Vidal are the same person, which makes that relationship really weird.
And Gohan should be slowly backing towards the door.
Yeah. I kind of forgot how Vidal was a decent character before she got married to Gohan, effectively.
And what, just became stereotypical Japanese anime wife?
Yeah, who does, like, she has, like, one moment in Super where you're like, oh yeah, there's Vidal, and then she quickly vanishes again, and you're like, oh.
Well, no, she's full of hormones of the baby making.
Yeah. It's like with Gohan. Gohan is a decent character, and then, he beats Cell, and he turns into a wuss, and then gets back into training for the World Martial Arts Tournament, then Boo's beaten, and he turns into another wuss, and then he has to get ready again. If I was Piccolo, I'd be fucking sick of Gohan. I'm not going to train you again, mate. For fuck's sake.
Well, like, there's a whole bit of Super dedicated to Piccolo going like, you know what, I'm tired of this.
Yep.
Get your shit together.
Yep. It's ridiculous. That's really been about it. Nothing super interesting, but yeah, that's been me. It's nice going back to, because I've never finished the Boo saga before.
Really?
No,
I watched it when it was, like, I was watching it on Toonami back in the...
I was, and I think I stopped because I had a break. I got up to the point where they freed all of the things trapped within Super Boo.
Oh, yeah, just before the Kid Boo stuff kicked off.
Yep, and I had a massive break and I never went back to it. So
and
I've
you
never seen the Kid Boo
saw
stuff.
the amazing Vegeta stuff after that.
No.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I know, I hear it's good, and I've seen bits from the video games and stuff, but I never got up to that point.
The only problem is you'll never see Brian Drummond's version.
Oh, right.
It was so good. Well, no, because like the Kai stuff is all Chris Abbott.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I suppose if
or
I wanted to, I
Japanese Vegeta, who's Rio Haka something. But no, like I remember the Brian Drummond version of that very well. Oh, it was so good.
I see. I could probably look at it on the YouTubes, couldn't I?
No, it's really hard to find.
Really?
Yep. Like there's a couple of clips from it, but not many.
Stupid.
Yeah. Also, it's like the best. It is by and large, the best looking Dragon Ball ever was.
Oh,
It
you mean
looks
that part of the saga?
Looks really good.
Yeah, rewatching like just the Great Saiyaman arc, I was like, man, it looks so much better than Super. Because Super just has that hey, this is made in a computer kind of look that anime has now, and not with a huge budget kind of thing.
And yeah, and then except like there's this couple of animators they get in for Super nowadays, and they're desperately going like, look,
yeah,
I can make it pretty, and then someone comes in like, yeah, but we're on a schedule. No, let me create.
There's just something about the look of the original Dragon Ball show.
Well, like
in the later seasons, at least.
Weren't you the one who showed me? Yeah. Before we all caught up in it, you showed me the clip of the future Trunks, the future Gohan death scene.
Oh dear!
And from Super, and it's so
dear.
clean and nice and everything. And then you watch the original from the history of Trunks, and oh my god, that looks so harrowing.
It's not quite as fair because that was an OVA, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
If you want, you go and have a look at that side by side on YouTube, and it's like, wow, there's one that has quality to it and one that is just a TV job with
one that was clearly made, during the part of the story where they were putting less effort into the visuals.
Yeah, very much so. Oof, what a shame. Anyway, we may as well wrap up the show, Mikey, as we're just kind of waffling on at the moment. Where can people find you on the internet? Also, Patreon people now have to hear you and Mr. Tricky talk about Ruby, don't they?
Yes, because that came out this week. If you're on Patreon, we had the Moonbase Woo Woo for this month, and it was me and Tricky talking about the web series Ruby. That one got away from me. If you don't know, Ruby is actually surprisingly awesome. As we went on quite a bit. So yeah, check that out. If you want to check me out, you can do it on Irish Palo on Twitter, and YouTube is GWolfV3, and you can check us out on Twitter at the Moonbase 2. I usually answer stuff. If I don't answer stuff, it's not that I haven't seen it, it's usually that I don't care.
Or your internet's bugged.
And my internet, the buggering this week. Oh, the buggering. And also you can email us on the moonbase2@gmail.com if you got anything. And don't forget, we're still accepting suggestions for the anniversary show. I think it's we'll go to the middle to the late of this month, and then we're going to sort of correlate ideas, Andy and I together, and then we're going to see what we're going to do.
Yay!
So that show will be airing mid-April, I believe. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, Andy, what about you? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr as CCTFW, on YouTube as Cobra Commander TFW. You can find this podcast on the Moonbase 2 forums. We're on Twitter, we're on iTunes, we're on Facebook, we're on Libsyn, we're on the place Mikey talks about. We're also on YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. If you want to leave us any feedback, you can do it on any of our things, really. You can do it on the Facebook page or send Mikey the emails or anything like that. We got a question on the Facebook page and asked if they could leave feedback underneath one of the episodes. And yeah, of course, you can leave feedback as long as they're in places that we'll see. And probably don't leave feedback on the forum because I don't really check there too much because it's pretty much dead. But I kind of just leave it there. I put stuff up there just in case people still use it. But if you want to leave feedback, the best place to do it is probably Twitter or the Facebook page or the email for Mikey. I would say those are probably or the YouTube page. Those are the best places for the feedback. And you can also find all my nonsense and woo-woo at the ccbunker.weebly.com. And if you want to help out the podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/moonbase2. And if you do $2 each month, you get Moonbase Woo-Woo. So you get the Ruby episode and future Moonbase Woo-Woos. And you also get the extended version of From the Files of Teletran 2. Where we talk about Visionaries, which we still need to record this week's episode or month's episode, don't we, Mr. Mikey? But the buggery stopped Mikey from being able to do that next week, so we'll probably be recording sometime this week. Yes,
ideally, assuming no further buggery.
Yes. So if you sign up to that, you'll get that show pretty soon, I guess, once we've recorded that, and normal people will have to wait an extra week.
Nerds.
So thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Mikey. It's been fun chattering with you about the lack of Transformers news, I suppose.
Indeed you do.
And we shall catch you next week, everybody, so take care.
Take care, children.
You are now leaving